Hey guys, welcome to Holding the Ball. Hope you guys had a good day today. Hope you guys have been well. Hope you guys have been safe. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate the comments and I appreciate you guys subscribing and liking. Cheers and thanks again for tuning in. Let's get straight into it. So this episode here, I'm going to be calling What is the NARL? Many of you guys have probably heard of it. Some of you probably haven't. It's a, long story short, it's a North American, so that includes America and Canada. It's a North American new rugby league competition that'll be starting on June the 19th. It's kickoff, and it's going to be filled with 14 teams. So they'll be having 14 teams in that comp. And it seems like an awesome initiative, and I'm looking forward to it. So the COO is Rob Curtis, and the only reason why I know much about him is because of the Chasing Ruse podcast, which I think does an excellent job. He's awesome as he gets, the questions, he gets to talk with some of the nitty, like the real deal guys who are actually part of the NARL, and that's just awesome, and I thank him for that. His interview, Rob Curtis, in the summary, basically went something like this. So Rob Curtis wants to get support. He wants to get more support from the NRL, the Super League. And I think what I mean by support is just, just more like, hey, how you going? Just sort of like that sort of, hands-on, maybe even via online, just sort of like that support, just to know he's being backed up. He understands that they're like the little brother here. He just wants to learn. The only thing I feel though is that the little brother here can potentially become the big brother, right? Especially if you factor in the fans, the broadcasting, the promotion, all those things in America, right? Like big stuff. So I think it was awesome. He just wants a hand. Another thing he said is that he's studying the game. He wants to learn the ins and the outs of rugby league. He's staying up, studying the NRL, Super League, and I think just different other types of leagues as well. That's including the Tier 2 leagues. You've got competitions in France. You've even got competitions, obviously, over New Zealand and Australia. And he's just studying that. So I think that's awesome too. Somebody who wants to understand how the game is played. Another thing as well that he said, Chasing Ruse was asking about which rules will he be adapting. Will it be Super League, NRL? And he said that he will be adapting the international rules, but with some added adjustments. Now I'm interested to see how this goes. Who knows, right? Like these adjustments could potentially be more enticing for the American viewer, right? It could probably be more appetizing for them. We'll see what happens. But again, that's just awesome, interesting. Can't wait to see how that sort of plays out. Other thing as well is that he's an expansionist, and I think expansionists are cool. He said he wants to expand the game more. So they've got 14 teams already. They've got a west and an east. He wants to sort of look out more, and I think that's great. He wants to sort of have a chat to other teams as well. There were some teams who were involved through the USARL, who are separate to the NARL. I might do a video on that later on. But basically, they had some teams there who are now actually part of the NRL, and some teams who missed out. My understanding is that he still wants to sort of branch out to them and see what happens, and I think that's great. An expansionist who wants to grow and expand is always a good thing, but I guess in saying that first, small steps first, right? Don't try to run when you can barely walk. So I think that's awesome. It's good, needs more support in that aspect, and I think that's great. Another thing as well, there was a few more points, is that he doesn't want to see this fail. And I think coming from him, right, the guy who's actually behind this, and he has experience too, working with Major League Soccer. So he was talking about his background there. His background is that sporting sense. That sort of, I think it was like that sporting, promotion of some sort. But he was saying that he has experience there, and he's bringing his experiences and so like his knowledge into the NARL. And he doesn't want to see this fail. He generally had this tone that just said, help us, we need this to work, we want this to work. And I think that the fact that this NARL has garnered attention from, social media on this side of the world, Southern Hemisphere, from New Zealand, Australia, I think is positive, and it shows that, hey, this just might be the game. And when Chasing Ruse sort of asked him about the streaming sites and stuff, he mentioned that Sportsflick would be the official sponsor for viewing. For me personally, I also am thinking potentially could KO be involved, could Fox Sport be involved. We'll see what happens, but there you go. So that's sort of just like a bit of a summation of that interview there that Chasing Roos had with Rob Curtis, and just overall just getting that vibe from that guy. He's definitely someone you want in your team, and he definitely understands, or he wants to understand how the league sort of sphere works, and I think that's great. So let's get into the actual NARL and what it sort of has, what it inhabits, and sort of what it will be looking like going forward. So the NARL is a conference type system. So much like NFL, your NBAs, your NFLs, you've got the East versus West sort of setting, and you've got your, I guess your so like your rivalries and stuff built there. So my thoughts about it personally, I think it's awesome, because that's, as I said before, how you can create rivalries, right? Like strong, dirty, gritty sort of rivalries, especially when you're looking forward to beating or trying to beat the home team, away team. And I think that's awesome. My thoughts as well about the conference system is good. This might be a blueprint that maybe potentially, especially the talk over here in the NRL, could probably look at. They could probably look at that blueprint as a sort of a, hey, how can we do this? So for that conference system that the NRL have been talking about, this could potentially be the way to do it. So we'll see what happens, but it's awesome. So again, you've got 14 teams from the East and the West. I'll just go quickly first with the first two teams from Canada. It is the Toronto Wolfpack. You guys would have heard of them through the Super League, and obviously that unfortunate sort of, I guess, situation where they were kicked out. And they've got the Ottawa Aces, who are another team up and coming, and they are the two teams from Canada. And the 12 teams from America, you've got the Atlanta Rhinos, you've got the Cleveland Rugby League, and just quickly as well, Cleveland, they've got a guy called Monty Gaddis, I believe, and he's had an incredible journey in rugby league. I think he's played in 5 different countries. Absolutely hard-working dude. He understands the grind. He is the grind. He's got his team. They've got contracts. They've got all that stuff there, and I think he's done such a good job and a positive job for rugby league in Cleveland. And I hope that that can eventuate to more growth in that area as well. So that's awesome. You've got the Boston 13s. You've got the you've got the Brooklyn Kings as well. You've got the Washington DC Cavalry. You've got the New York Freedom, and I think that's a cool name. So on the West, so that was the East. So for the West, you've got the Austin Armadillos from Texas, and I think that's pretty cool. The animal, the armadillo, it's such an American thing, a Texas thing, right? You've got the Phoenix Venom. You've got the San Diego Swell. You've got the Las Vegas Blackjacks. You've got the Portland Loggers. And then last but not least, you've got the San Francisco Rush. And again, those are the 14 teams competing. But I must make note as well that only the American teams will be competing, not the Canadian teams due to COVID restrictions. But I believe next year they'll be coming in. And so the way this pans out is I believe they're all going to be, so it's the kickoffs on the 19th of June over at Las Vegas in a Sporting Dome complex, I believe. It's going to be a dome where it's inside, roof over it. But I sort of saw the picture too, and I'm thinking, well, how does that work when you do the big high kicks? I mean, it's going to bounce down. Like, what happens? Is that like turnover? So it's sort of like those sort of questions. Maybe that's where Rob Curtis was talking about the rule variation potentially for this, sort of aspect here, but we'll see how it goes. I think it's cool. Hey, so long as they have that sort of look to it where it's a bit professional, that's all that matters, right? So we'll see how it goes, but I'm just looking forward to it. And yeah, so I believe that's how it's going to pan out. So East will play them, West will play amongst themselves, and sort of go from there like a conference. So yeah, so that is in a nutshell, sort of like the NARL in a nutshell. That sort of gives you hopefully more knowledge of that competition, that new sort of kid on the block, right? So we'll see what happens there. And I'll just give you guys my thoughts. So my thoughts on it personally, I think it's awesome. I think it's great. I've always wanted to see a rugby league competition in America, one that can actually garner interest and one that actually has people interested. I do understand that the USARL have had one, but again, not really knowing into that, didn't really know much about it. So I'm just happy that NARL are actually taking that initiative to try something different, try something new. Now again, not to be confused, the USARL and the NRL different. I might make a video on that one there. So two different bodies. The USARL, however, are the actual governing body of rugby league in America, and the NARL, you can say to a degree, just the stranger that's walked in the bar, right? So, but in saying that, doesn't matter, right? Rugby league, cannot wait for it. If you love rugby league, whether you're watching from England, whether you're watching from Australia or New Zealand, or you know, other parts of Europe, or from America itself, Canada, welcome it, embrace it, and expect it. I think this is great because, you know, it's going to give us more rugby league. And it's also going to give us rugby league from the aspect of, you know, we love watching NBA, NFL, right? We love watching ice hockey. We love watching baseball. The four big cornerstone sports in America. How about we add rugby league to that list, especially us who love watching rugby league, you know? And I think that's awesome, as, you know, like, and I think it's cool because there's more discussion, there can be more banter. It's just great. And on top of that as well, you can see athletes, more athletes. You get that sense of watching something new develop. My understanding is that a lot of the players are going to be, a lot of them have come from rugby league or rugby union and gridiron backgrounds. And again, that's cool. You got to start somewhere, right? That's how you develop players. That's how they learn. I'm just hoping that these intense training by coach Lance O'Hara is going to be one of the coaches for the team. Again, it's great. They've got some players too, former ex-players from NRL playing. Look, they're trying. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. If you like that idea, if you like that concept of rugby league in America, get into it. Or if you just want to watch something that's new, something that's different, potentially something that's cool, you know, and I think it will grow. Watch it, because I do believe that this is the sleeping giant of rugby league, is this competition right here. If I'm looking at it from the sense of fans, broadcast, especially how they treat their sports stars like basically A-grade celebrities, hey, this is it right here, right? NARL, you know, get into it, because, you know, if this actually picks up traction, man, this is gonna be amazing. I think it's awesome. I think it's great. There's only one issue here. I have not picked my team yet. I'm still looking for one, but you bet I want to get right into the NARL with the tips, with the players, with all that stuff, you know, like I'm doing with the NRL, the Warriors as well. Especially when I get my team, I'll be giving them the sort of same thing. But yeah, just get into it, get amongst it. Thanks again for watching this video. I'm signing off, and I'll see you guys next time. And remember, hold the ball.